right, what's going on, everybody? This is Bridging the Geekdoms, our first crazy live episode. I've done live stuff before. Actually, back when the Last Jedi trailer dropped on Monday Night Football, my buddy and I actually sat down on my couch for like 2 hours talking about Star Wars and our speculation on the trailer. So then we had a true live reaction to the trailer, which was really cool.
Nice. Yeah.
You know, because everybody says they have these, live reactions of trailers and they post on YouTube. They watch it probably 15 times before they put it on there.
Oh, yeah.
So we're like, let's try something different. And it was cool. We had some interaction. People were asking us questions and it was a good time. But hey, how's it going, guys?
Going good, man.
Yeah. So with me today, I've got TJ Bravo from The Culture Nerd, as well as Marcus from The Culture Nerd. Both I've talked to quite a bit on social media. Marcus has been on the show a couple times already. So how's it going? How was your weekender? How are things going? I mean, with the pandemic?
Well, I just started a job at the gym like a month ago. And then over here in California, the gym's closed down after 3 weeks. So I worked for like 2 weeks and then I was back staying at home again. So that kind of sucked.
Oh, man. Yeah. And then for me, it's not too bad. I guess because I'm in Hawaii. So we put a quarantine on passengers from the mainland. So that kind of just deterred everyone from coming. So it's like, it kind of reminds me of what like Hawaii used to be for me like 15 years ago. Like roads are a lot less empty, beaches are a lot less empty, but we just had a hurricane warning. Luckily that didn't hit us, so that was cool. That was a good thing.
Yeah, I saw people posting about that. I had no idea that there was anything going on over there. At least you're safe. At least it missed you.
Yeah, just totally took a right turn at the right time.
So I brought you guys on today because this past weekend was JusticeCon. It was pretty much a fan-driven weekend to honor Zack Snyder and Zack Snyder's Justice League. So I wanted to get you guys on here because I wanted to talk to you about what we heard and what we saw at the event this past weekend. Now, before I get to that, though, Marcus decided to drop a little tidbit of information this past, like right after JusticeCon was over. He dropped some information. He posted an article on your website, The Culture Nerd. And yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about that real quick?
Yeah, it's still not final, but Emilia Clark is the front runner right now for Zatanna. You're loading that up there?
Yeah, I got it up there.
Yeah, she's the number one pick right now for Zatanna. It's not final, but our sources tell us that she's definitely being looked at to the point where they have concept art available of her already. So yeah. I know a lot of people, like I was just looking at Twitter and I'm surprised a lot of people didn't want her to be Zatanna. There's a lot of people like, oh, get Alexandra Daddario or get this and this actress, but I'm pretty satisfied with that casting. That's what's going to end up happening.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked. I didn't think I've been hearing Emilia Clark's name. I've heard it from a few different people that she was being considered for a part. I mean, I didn't know who, because I don't know exactly the cast that they're going to have for Justice League Dark. Zatanna is the most notable female character that would be there, but I kind of just blew it off. Just like, people were speculating, everybody wants Alexandra Daddario so badly. Like I wanted her because I thought she looks the role perfectly, but
yeah, she looks just like her, like right out of the comics, basically.
But I am a big fan of Emilia Clark. I think she does have a good presence on screen, and it doesn't hurt that she had a role where she had to have a presence for the better part of a decade on HBO. So I think that helps that fact. Her acting abilities, I think, are still kind of limited. I mean, I saw her in Game of Thrones and I saw her in that Terminator film, which was not great. I haven't really seen her much else. So really, can she pull it off? I think she could. I'd be interested. And I like her. I think she's, as a person, like as interviews that I've seen with her, she seems amazing and really cool. So I dig it. I'm not against the idea, but I'm not against the idea of anything.
She's if Justice League Dark is what it's supposed to be like on a like an HBO Max series, is what it's kind of being touted as for the most
Mhm.
part. I mean, she's in the HBO family, so that already
Yeah,
is
she's
like,
already associated
right?
with them. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, then I started like, I mean, I love Game of Thrones. I can't. What was the language that she was speaking? Like whatever it was, I forget. Dothraki, whatever. But
Yeah,
she
yeah,
can already
Dothraki.
pull off like learning a fake language. So just learning the language backwards to do magic spells should be a cinch for her.
Oh, you're right. It wouldn't be that
You know?
difficult. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I hope other people are looking forward to it also, because I think, I honestly think that she'd be a good choice. Alexandra Daddario, yeah, she looks the part, but getting back to the whole acting thing, does she have the chops? Does she have the ability to do that? With the speculation also in the rumors out there that they're talking about a Zatanna film as well. Could Daddario lead a film? I guess they believe that Clark could, if that is a rumor
Yeah.
that does come to fruition. That's kind of how I have to, or anybody really has to look at it.
I think that whole her being, the mother of dragons, that whole presence, like you guys said, kind of already adds to her being in that part. Like, or at least people can kind of see her like having a presence on screen because that they've seen it already, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Alexandra Daddario, I feel like she's always been, or I can only think of, what's the one with her and The Rock? It was man. Well, whatever that movie was, but she's more of like a damsel in
Baywatch.
distress, right? Well, yeah.
Was it Baywatch?
That's
Baywatch,
no,
yeah.
it was the other one where it's like the skyscrapers are falling. Man, why am I drawing a blank on that? Like
San
San Andreas? Yeah, was it that? Wasn't she in that?
I
with
think
him
so.
too?
Yeah, I think that was it.
I'm looking real quick. San Andreas. She was in
Yeah.
Baywatch also.
She was, yeah. So
Yeah.
a little more damsel in distress than like on screen like presence, but I don't know. I mean, who knows? She could pull it off, but I like the Emilia Clark pick. I think she's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so do I like her. Like I said, I'm not 100% sold on Emilia's abilities as an actress yet, but I haven't seen her enough. I could sit there and say, hey, she pulled off Khaleesi perfectly, or whatever you want to call her. She pulled that role off perfectly, but she was doing that for almost a decade. So then, she's
Yeah.
definitely going to pull that off
Yeah.
well. It's seeing, can she take another character and kind of make it her own is what I want to see.
Another thing to consider was like a lot of people were casting her as like other roles, like with the whole controversy with Amber Heard, they wanted her to be Mira and Aquaman.
Yeah, I heard that a while ago. I don't think that Amber Heard's going to be removed from anything, at least at this point, at this juncture.
Yeah, I honestly don't think so either.
I know the stuff that's going on there with her and Johnny Depp is kind of ridiculous, and the more I see it, the more I kind of see both of them were in the wrong. So really,
It's a whole mess, honestly.
who knows what's going to happen at this point? But let's kind of jump over now to that, because not to that, but to the Justice Con stuff, because I really want to talk about that. There was so much that happened in or at Justice Con this past weekend. But first and foremost, I just want to congratulate the Nerd Queens and Wonder Meg.
Yes, absolutely.
Because the con was significant. I mean, it's a significant event that happened because it wasn't your typical convention. It was fan made, for the fans, by the fans, but it had big names, huge named people that attended, which is fantastic. So I want to ask you guys real quick, what do you think? Why do you think this convention was so important? Like, well, what do you think we're going to get out of this moving forward as fans, not just of, what Zack Snyder fans, but of all different fandoms?
Well, I think it was really cool that it was a fan event. It was by the fans, for the fans, that connected, all of us to that whole camp, the whole Snyder camp, everyone who's kind of been in support of it. And just now, I mean, look at everything else now, right? We got the release, the Ayer cut movement is gaining steam, and that looks like it's happening. Then you got people asking for the Schumacher cut. So there's a lot going on, right? I mean, I would like to see that.
That's crazy, yeah.
But like it's leading towards hopefully that, like I get studios need to step in because it's, their money they're producing, or but at the same time, like, you always hear all these stories of like all these scenes that were cuts or decisions that were made that weren't the directors. So it'd be really cool to kind of, I guess maybe this is going forward, helping directors kind of finish their own vision. But as far as like the JusticeCon event that's put on, I mean, it's the first of its name, and I thought it was a great success. And maybe there's more to it going forward. Maybe you're always going to have like a in-person Comic-Con at San Diego, because that's always just a fun event to be in person. But maybe this kind of leads down a future of having more online quick interactions with directors, with actors, with storyboard artists, with like anyone who's kind of like a little bit behind the scenes that doesn't get a lot of recognition, but has info on the movie, or like the kind of the interesting stuff behind the scenes that we don't know about, to kind of learn
all
on that
this
stuff
stuff
really
we don't hear
cool.
about.
Yeah, like give that to the fans too. Like, when you think about it, everyone kind of had about an hour on like one day. They're not flying people in anywhere, so it could be like another alternate route that kind of the people behind the scenes, or big name people that want to just reach out to their fans. It's quick and easy, and they could do this more than once a year if they wanted to. So
Yeah,
would be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this on a previous podcast. It just brings up the power that fans have right now. I mean, like, you think about if something like this happened maybe like 10 years ago, hard to imagine.
No way.
Yeah. Like, just even 10 years ago, it's crazy how far we've come as fans and how much influence we have.
It's kind of amazing when you really think about it too. Just the power of the fans right now is at an all-time high, and it's one of those things though. We don't want to be like fans that just always demanding something.
Yeah,
but
we don't want to be entitled.
Right? Yeah, entitled to, like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you don't want that. Like, this movement was huge in the way that we're going to see going forward. Like, they're taking Zack's vision and putting it on a different service, basically, just to make sure that it gets done, because it was interfered with. So
yeah,
what happens
more like,
next?
Yeah, it's more like doing the right thing as well as it is getting a movie out there. So
yeah.
No. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to really take from JusticeCon. I mean, the artistic integrity of a director, the suicide prevention, awareness for suicide prevention, and everything like that from JusticeCon. There's a lot to take out of it. I mean, for me, I see this as a possibility for fans in the future to just do little events like this. I mean, we'll still have our San Diego Comic Cons, our New York Comic Cons, and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
Those will still happen, but I think this is now an opportunity. And if filmmakers and comic creators and studios, if they look and see, like, wow, people really enjoyed this and this was successful, they'll say, you know what, this is another outlet that we can go. Like, let's find a YouTuber or somebody who is knowledgeable with the content. Let's say, hey, do you want to put on a con for a weekend? And instead of making people go out to the conventions, especially with the whole scare of COVID going on right now.
Yeah, definitely brought a lot of changes.
Yeah, this is a perfect opportunity for something like that, because who knows how long this scare is going to go on for. Who knows if we ever get a vaccine and everything like that. So those conventions I'm talking about, San Diego and everything, those could be done forever. I don't think they will be, but if this COVID thing doesn't improve, it could be a while until we even get to go to those again. And this is just a great opportunity. And I think that they need to take advantage, because the studio driven things, like, don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to DC fandom. Absolutely looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going to notice that it is going to be like so structured in a certain way. The thing about JusticeCon is it was just laid back. It was just nice. It was, everyone was just comfortable talking.
Definitely.
And that's kind of what I hope and I think we can take away from JusticeCon. And again, that's because of the Nerd Queens and Wonder Meg. They did such an amazing job with what they did there, and I hope they keep it up. I hate all the negative feedback they're getting.
God, it's just wrong for the feedback. Like, it's put on by the fans for the fans. It wasn't like a company made event where, like you said, it's structured. It's got like certain things that they have to hit or what. Like, come on, man! Like, it was awesome. Like,
it was a lot
so
of hard
relaxed
work
too. Like what you said, like everyone who was on a panel was totally casual, and it was just kind of talking to us like how, you know, anyone would talk to each other, kind of thing. I don't know. It's like a normal conversation that they had instead of giving us like the company like made answer for the most part. So.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but the only critique I have for them is to do it again. Just do it again, because I'd love to see them. I think they did a really good job, and you know, could they improve in areas? Absolutely, but we got something.
Man.
That's exactly. I mean, look at my YouTube right now. Like, I got 2 people watching. Woohoo! But this is my first time doing a live show, so I didn't expect there to be 500, 1,000 people watching this right now. It is what it is, but everything you can always improve in it and everything, and the only way you do that is just by repetition, doing it over and over again. And I think that that's what they should do. I think it would be amazing if they did. All right, so with that, we had a bunch of panels, and we're not going to talk about every single panel. Some were more exciting than others, to say the least. I mean, it's important to, the Ink to the People, the AFSP, the diversity in Snyder's films. Those were really, really good panels. I encourage everybody to watch them, because it's just amazing to see what Zack Snyder and this movement has been able to accomplish, just because the fans were working together. And that's what's amazing. And that's what the importance of those 3 panels specifically is all about that. So I do encourage everybody to watch those. But, the big ones that I do want to kind of talk about are Jay, Oliva, Ray Fisher, Sean O'Connell, and obviously Zack and Debbie Snyder. Now, I'm going to start. We're going to kind of start from low and go to high, because, well, Zack, we'll get to Zack. Yeah, I want to talk. I do want to talk about Joe Oliva real quick. I've been messaging him for a while on Twitter, and like, hey man, I want you to come on the show. Come on the show. It'd be awesome to talk to him, and he just seems like a really cool guy to talk to, and his information that he gave when it comes to him working on Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and Justice League was really interesting. Now, I don't know, you guys had a chance to watch both of those, right? Or all the panels, or most of the panels at least?
I was able to watch most of them, yeah.
Like I missed some. That was Saturday, especially because I was prepping for a hurricane to hit, but I caught in and out of it and everything. I really liked what his just enthusiasm and passion for like the projects he was on. With Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman. It's just, but like it was, he put a lot, like everyone put a lot into it, but he just oozed like he loved working on those films, like loved it. And man, he's done I know he does so much of the animated films that, like, I still watch those. Like, I don't care how old you are, you can still enjoy those animated movies. But just the way he was talking about like everything he was working on was just so, like, you could tell he loved it. I just love the enthusiasm, because you don't work on a movie like that, or you don't have that type of enthusiasm if you don't love what the story is or how it's unfolding. And
I definitely love people that are behind the scenes that are passionate about like the source material and what they're trying to adapt. So that's definitely something I find pretty cool about him.
Yeah, and wow, I mean, for Jay, his whole thing at first was just animation. He was doing the doing the Dark Knight Returns, the animated film, and he just gets a call and like, hey, Zack Snyder wants to meet you. And he kind of goes to meet Zack Snyder. And one of my favorite my favorite part of that story is whenever he gets to Zack Snyder's house, and Zack Snyder walks him through his house, and the storyboards are up around the house in different rooms. So there's storyboards in the kitchen and the living room, upstairs. Right. Like, to me, that's just like, that's a man who's living and breathing this story that he wants to tell. And if anything, that should show people who are so against Snyder and like, oh, he doesn't understand the characters or he doesn't have a vision. Like that
It's
right
just-
there just proves that he cares and he's
Yeah.
putting his heart into it.
Definitely.
But the most surprising, and I shouldn't say surprising because Snyder has kind of hinted to it and alluded to it in the past, but something that I think now that all these thousands of people that watched Justice League will now know is Zack had been shooting scenes for later films as far back as Batman vs Superman.
Right.
And that's what I think people need to take away most of. I mean, the Jay Oliva interview is amazing, but from that's what I took away from it the most is his confirmation that there were scenes and storyboards and everything planned out as far back as Batman vs Superman through his Justice League arc. And that's important to remember as we're coming up on the announcements that we're going to get from Snyder and DC for what Zack Snyder's Justice League is going to be. Because I think that plays right into the hand where people are like, yeah, we're getting a 4-hour cut movie or 5-hour cut movie, but it's going to be broken up in parts. I mean, that's what's going to happen. And I think what people don't understand is how can he have so much footage and how can he break it up into multiple parts? How can we get Justice League Part 1, Part 2, Part 3? It's because he's been filming it as far back as Batman vs Superman.
Yep.
You know, it's not like he wasn't like, here's Batman vs Superman, that's done, here you go, and then here's Justice League, here you go. Like he was planning it for continuity reasons, for budgetary reasons. All those types of things play into that, and that's why I solely believe, and we'll get more into it later, I solely believe it's going to be Justice League Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, with very minimal additional photography needed because most of it's already been done.
Yeah. And I think it makes sense with the whole Batman vs Superman when they shot all that because they had all the actors, right? I mean, they had
they had everyone casted already.
You know, they already had the little cameos, right, with the with Luthor's computer where it shows Flash, Cyborg. So like they already had those guys. So that's what I'm thinking. Like Cyborg's scene, that deleted scene of him like playing football and everything, probably was shot back then, right? That's what I always thought. Like where would that have put, or when would they have filmed that? And that kind of just brings me back to all that little cameo scenes. I'm sure they did a lot more than that. So the whole nightmare scene, that dream sequence right there in Batman vs Superman, I have to believe that they probably filmed more of that. They didn't just film just that little snippet just for Batman vs Superman. So
and that kind of played into something else that another panel talked about, which is Ray Fisher. He started talking about him being cast as Cyborg, and maybe he misspoke, but I kind of think that he wasn't. I mean, he was talking about being called to be cast in Justice League, but we know he was in Batman vs Superman.
Right. And that was, he said, what, 2014 is when he got the call or something? Or when
something
he
like
auditioned, right around there?
Yeah.
So if you think about it, if he's getting the call in 2014 for Justice League, and then we see scenes, or a scene of him in Batman vs Superman, it starts to make sense. Like, okay, they were filming
Justice League back then.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know? So it's crazy, you know, like Zack Snyder sits there and he was talking about, you know, I've been working on this film since 2016. No, man, you've been working on this since 2014, 2015. And that's just what's absolutely crazy about it, because people want to sit there and just say how much he doesn't have a vision. He didn't know what he was doing, and it wasn't going anywhere. And they want to talk about, that's not how Superman would act. But when you try to explain, look, this is an arc. He's starting here. He's going to become the Superman you want here.
He has to earn his way to be that traditional Superman. And that's what I like about Zack's Superman. He starts off as a very human character. He's not like some, you know, super smiley god like everyone wants him to be right away. He kind of has to grow into that.
Yeah, man. I love how like curious he is about, like, he's living like this human life, but he knows he's not, right? So he's curious about like how should I react in these situations? Should I do it? Should I not? Should it, like the whole, Pa Kent in the tornado. Every time I watch it, I still tear up. It's just, that's just a
Yeah, me
very like
too.
powerful
It is.
scene. And it's like
And
people don't get it or something. Like that's
what it is.
huge. That's
they
like, it
don't get
builds
it.
his character from that moment on. It's like he starts his journey like right there,
The editor-in-chief for the host of the flagship podcast of the Spoilerverse, he and I get into heated debates constantly about Man of Steel, and specifically that tornado scene. He's like, it makes no sense. That's not who Superman is. Superman would never let his father die there. Like, he would go and save him, and it's so hard to like explain to him. Like, dude, it's, first off, I give credit to Matt from Lightcast, because if it wasn't for him, I never put this together like that, like I'm about to say. But Man of Steel is not a Superman movie. It's a Clark Kent movie.
Okay.
It's about Clark Kent becoming Superman. It's his rise to realizing, hey, there's more for me in life. And that moment, it's not Superman that's standing under that bridge. It's Clark Kent who is, I'm going to say it like it sounds wrong, but he's obedient to his father. He's listening to his father who's trying to protect him his entire life, because he is different. He is strange. And he's worried about the world shunning him. And that's his father. And he's respecting his father's wishes by not rescuing him. And to me, that is the most Clark Kent, most Superman thing that he could ever do.
Yeah, because he's always about doing stuff for others. It's never like what's for his best interest. It's always looking out for others.
Precisely. Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get into debates about it all the time, and they talk to different creators over on their podcast called Spoiler Country. They talk to different creators, and they've talked to people who have written Superman comics, who have done the art for Superman comics. And he's like, every time we have him on the show, I ask them, what do you think of Man of Steel or Zack Snyder's interpretation of Superman? And they all hate it. See, the creators even hate it. I'm like, then they're not understanding what Zack is doing, because their Superman in the comics has already done so much, has already changed so much in his span of life. This is a different Superman. And it's just so hard for people to understand that. And it baffles me, because they're so quick to sit down and watch, even look at the Batman Begins and the Dark Knight and everything like that. Those were drastic changes to those characters. Batman was probably the closest to Batman that we've gotten in a film, but look at the Joker.
Way different. Yeah.
Way different. And he's praised.
Exactly. I mean, he was not Joker. Like, if you were to sit down and say, here's the comic book Jokers and here's him, he doesn't match with any of them.
But people love Heath Ledger's Joker, which I loved his performance of it. But I still go back to Jack Nicholson's Joker as like my quintessential Joker. That's, he's got the poison flower, he's got the electrocuting handshake, he's got all of that, laughs, he kills people with a smile. I don't know, it was just he's got the goons that wear different, I don't know. But no, that's a great point. Like, I never really thought about, like, Heath Ledger's Joker is so praised, yet so wildly different from its comic counterpart. Yet they can't handle Zack Snyder's take on Superman.
Yeah.
It's
like,
crazy.
Come on, man. Like, I think people just need something to complain about it. Sometimes it's just, it's such a good take. It's something different. It's putting Superman in modern time. You couldn't put Christopher Reeve Superman right now and run the same movie. That just wouldn't, I don't think that would work in 2020, 2016, 2012.
Would not work.
Right?
It wouldn't work.
No way.
We really got off topic here.
Whoops.
But bringing it back, talking about Ray Fisher and the way that he's really talking about his role, and we've seen it. I mean, since Zack Snyder announced that his cut was coming out, Ray Fisher's been very vocal, and we've all seen the tweets that he put up about Josh Whedon, John Berg, and Jeff Johns. And the thing that was interesting from his panel is how he called them out. he's like, yeah, there's an investigation going on. This is happening. There's a lot more. He even called Josh Whedon out. He's like, look, if I'm wrong, get your lawyers, sue me. And to me, that's like a man who's sitting there like, I got nothing to lose, and I know I'm right. And I give him a lot of credit being such a young actor in Hollywood. Essentially, I mean, he's not young himself, but in his career is so young. This could blacklist him. He could never work on another film again, but he's sticking to his guns. And I honestly admire that. I think he's doing an amazing thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I find it like, oh, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, like, it's just, for him to kind of go out, what did he say? He said, like, if the Snyder cut, the Zack Snyder's Justice League is the last thing that he does, he's fine with it. Like, I know he's talked about he used to do theater and he liked doing that, but for him just to kind of say like he's had a good life, if this is the last thing he does movie-wise, he's fine with it. Like, it's like you always hear about these stories or whatnot. You always kind of assume some things happen behind the scenes with getting a role or whatever, directors being dismissive to their cast, but like to have him go out and just say it and then back it up adamantly, like that's courageous in a way, like that's, like you said, I admire that. Like, all for him, all for Ray Fisher.
100%.
Yeah, I just really respect that he came out and said this, because stuff like this is not new to the industry. It's definitely widespread and it's not talked about enough. And I'm just really glad he took it up there. He's very upfront about it. I was expecting him to not get so into it during the panel, Justice Con, but he went straight for it. He went right for the throat, and I was really like, and I was really in shock. He talked about it for that long, and he was just very upfront about it. And I think that he's willing to put his career on the line for this. That he's willing to do that. That's just a testament to like what a man he is. That he's very just brave, willing to do it. Even if it costs him a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am really, really, I hope what he wants out of it comes out of it. I really do. Because to me, there's no better man to be the one that's standing up to that right now, especially with how he was treated, and we knew that his arc was going to be huge in Justice League, and how it was just completely cut down to nothing. I mean, this is showing the character that he has as a person in real life, which is amazing. So you guys got anything else on either of those two, Jay Oliva or Ray Fisher? You guys,
I think we covered that pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, Sean O'Connell, the author of the Release a Snyder Cut book. I had him on this show, I think it was 4 weeks ago now.
Nice.
And he's a great guy. Like, he really is. It was one of the best conversations I ever had with a creator. He was just a pleasure to speak with and talk to. But his panel was cool. I mean, he read an excerpt from a removed chapter of the book. It was removed because the Snyder Cut got announced. It was interesting. It definitely seems like he's going the right direction with the book, because it's about the movement. It's not about the movie, it's about the movement. And I really do enjoy that take on it. I'm not saying I don't want to see what happened behind the scenes at some point, whether it's a documentary or a book, but I think it was a smarter idea to go with the movement, because that's the heart of why the movie is coming out now.
Yeah.
But his big thing that he kind of, some people think he may have slipped. Some people think, or he's saying he was just joking around. Green Lantern. His clip.
I'm gonna say it slipped.
He says that he was joking around, and for years and years now, like 3-4 years now, we've been like, who's Green Lantern in the movie? Who's Green Lantern in the movie? You had actor Sam Benjamin walking around saying, I'm in the movie. My story arc was cut. I can't say who or what I was really doing. I was a military person. That's pretty much all Sam Benjamin has ever said about the movie. Everybody's speculating that he was playing Green Lantern. So Sean O'Connell during his panel got asked a question about something about his hat with the logos, or so, I can't remember how it was. But he was asked for confirmation of Green Lantern, and he was like, he pulls his hat off. He's like, nope, no Green Lantern on here. There's your confirmation, or there's your your news story. He's not in the movie. And he goes, and right after he does it, he goes, sorry, Sam, he's not in the movie. And people are like, okay, is he joking, or did he really slip and basically say, hey, Sam, sorry, you're not in the movie?
Right.
I don't know. What is your take on that? And I mean, maybe maybe you don't know, but what is your take?
Marcus?
I don't know.
I don't know, but I mean, I clearly heard he say, sorry, Sam, right?
Yeah.
So what's that inferring? Like, to me, I don't know. If I read between those lines, I'm thinking he's kind of being coy about the whole situation. He doesn't want to say yes, that he's in it. Doesn't want to, I mean, he did say he's not in it. He did say Green Lantern's not in it, but he doesn't say like Hal Jordan or
it could be
John
Hal
Stewart
Jordan.
isn't in it. He didn't say like that. He said Green Lantern's not in it, but he didn't say like
we
that
all know
character name, right?
We all know
we don't
Ryan
know who
Reynolds is in it. We know Ryan Reynolds is in it. All right, we know that.
Yeah, right.
What's your take, Marcus? Like, what do you think?
That actually would make sense if it was just like, because he said character arc. He didn't say he was going to be Green Lantern necessarily. It's like maybe he could get the ring at the end of the movie or something like that. We don't know.
Like one of the hundreds of Green Lanterns in the comics comes down and is like recruiting people, and it ends up to be him. Maybe that's like a credit scene or a part of the movie, but he doesn't say that. Yeah, he didn't say that Hal Jordan's not in it. He didn't say Kyle Rayner or John Stewart's not in it. He just said the Green Lantern, like that logo isn't in it, kind of thing. So maybe it could be a little play on words that he's technically not wrong by saying what he said,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we all know Ryan Reynolds is Green Lantern in Zack Snyder's Justice League, so we'll just go with that, right? No, it's funny because I was rewatching his panel today, and I actually tweeted it out because I thought it was really funny. I found in his panel behind him, hanging on his shelf, was a little plushie of Green Lantern.
I saw you tweet that today, yeah.
And I was like, that's a little peculiar, especially because he specifically talks about in his panel how he's such a big Marvel fan. And behind him, there's Marvel posters, there's Marvel stuff all behind him. But over in the corner is just one little plushie of Green Lantern. I don't know. I just thought that was a little peculiar.
I think you got something. I feel like the entire Snyder camp loves Easter eggs. They put them everywhere, man. you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, I tweeted that to him, and he just kind of put what he put Hatgate or something like that, hashtag Hatgate, because of his whole comment about his hat. And we a little fun. I had some retweets and people laughing about it, but maybe maybe he did that for a reason, maybe it's just something that he hangs. I don't know. I have no insight, but I thought it was funny. Okay. So Sean O'Connell, well, great. I can't wait to get his book. I think everybody needs to go check out that panel. Listen to my episode of on the podcast for my interview with him, because it was amazing. So definitely can't wait to see what comes of that.
When does that book come out, by the way?
Well,
I need to pick it up.
Well, he doesn't know yet. His plan is to have it out right around the time Zack Snyder's Justice League comes out. So he'd like to get it out a few weeks beforehand. But right now, I think actually yesterday, I think he tweeted today or yesterday that he just sent the book out to the publisher. So now they got to do their read through, they got to do their edits and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So once that's completed, then we'll probably get an idea. They probably have to go through a little bit of a process to determine when it's going to be out. But it also, I think, depends on when they announce the release date for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Justice League.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
we will see. Okay. Moving on to see, I kind of got to do Zack Snyder before I do Debbie Snyder, only because what she said and talked about a bit makes more sense if you hear the Zack Snyder stuff first, I think. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just saying that. Maybe I just want to get to the Zack Snyder stuff. The thing about Zack Snyder, I love whenever he's able to just talk and just sit there. And his Grace Randolph interview, Monday before Justice Con was pretty cool. I liked it because he did just sit there and talk, but he was watching what he said. He didn't want to say too much, and you can tell with Zack because he fidgets a lot whenever he's like, all right, I don't want to talk about something.
Yeah.
Justice Con, he was a little more relaxed, and he sat there and he just kind of talked and I think he revealed more than people realize. And that's something that people, maybe everybody picked up on it. I mean, he talked about the length of the movie and everything like that, but I honestly think that he truly revealed more in his panel than I think people realize. Obviously, we got the little snippet of footage that he showed us. I kind of want to bring that up first because I want to get your opinion. I heard your editor-in-chief over on the Lightcast on Sunday, and everybody over there, they were talking like, I don't think that clip is going to be in the movie. I put a poll up on Twitter actually today, even asking that. He showed a clip of black Superman in a black suit, but it's that deleted scene that was on the Joss Whedon cut of the movie where Superman shows up and talks to Alfred. Now, if I'm not mistaken, if memory serves me well, that scene was supposed to be with Green Lantern. So they're saying it's not going to be in the movie, or if it is, it's changed. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I put kind of like a similar poll out. Forget when, maybe that morning, that Saturday morning or Sunday morning. But I don't know, it just seemed to me like it was just like a way to kind of show what they could do with the suit. Like, I don't know, he was talking about how he and his crew were like testing of how to like Photoshop it to, they made adjustments to the suit so they could later go back and post and make adjustments with the color to the suit. And I just don't know where that scene fits. Like where would that scene fit? You got Alfred fixing a car, Superman in a black suit. Like, is that like, for some reason I always think that's about the time when everyone else is fighting and Superman's like coming back to life kind of thing. But it's obviously going to be, if that's in the movie, I don't know where it fits because we don't know what the storyline is anymore for that movie. But I don't know. To me, it just looked like a little sample piece of a scene that they could show off what they could do with changing it to a black suit. But like, I remember, like what she said too. I think it is a Green Lantern scene, or it was supposed to be, or that was the rumor. Now, who knows? Maybe that's all CGI right there with Superman coming down. That's all by himself. I don't think you get a frame with both Superman and Alfred in the same frame. So.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, real quick, I know you want to jump in, Marcus. My buddy, who he was supposed to be on the show today, but couldn't make it. He's a huge DC fan, and he's been on my show a couple times, and he's a huge Green Lantern fan. And when that clip first came out, which that clip was in one of the final trailers, I think it wasn't the final trailer, but the one before the final trailer of the movie.
It was that super long one, right? Like, it was like 5 minutes long or something.
It was the final one that I think Snyder actually had involvement in, I think. I could be wrong. But when that showed up, there is a hint of green light in that scene.
There's a green tint on his glasses.
And it's very peculiar that happens because when you find, because that in the trailer, it doesn't show who he's talking to. it just, is Alfred saying, oh, hopefully
We
you're
hope
not
you're
too
not
late.
too late.
So was the plan all along to put a Green Lantern there? And obviously, if they're going to have a Green Lantern, if there's going to be a glow on the Green Lantern, they're going to have lights around to shine. Was that the plan all along? Did he maybe shoot that scene without somebody actually there and then, put Cavill in? And I'm not saying that Joss put Cavill in, because I believe Snyder actually told the story about how he had to put Superman in that scene because Jeff Johns, it may have been something I heard on a podcast. I can't say for a fact if it was Snyder or not, but I know I've heard the story that, Snyder was told that he had to put Superman in that scene. So could he just as easily remove him from that scene now and put in a Green Lantern?
Well, when you say the trailer too, it just says, Alfred just says, we hope you're not too late. But in this snippet, it ends with Master Kent. But I don't remember him saying Master Kent in the previous trailers, obviously, right? So
Yeah.
Was that something added, right? Like, did they just, I don't know, there's a lot of things you can do with video editing these days. You just
And I don't think,
yeah, it's tricky to pick up on it.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, it could be something that Zack is trying to pull over, over our eyes, but I don't know. I mean, I showed the poll on my Twitter, and I mean 94% out of almost 40 votes are saying yes, absolutely, that scene's going to be in there. I don't know, Marcus, what's your take on it, man?
I'll be honest, I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Oh shit, my bad.
It's my fault. I cut him off. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, if you really want to sit down and pick it apart, go back and watch some of the trailers and see. Again, like you said, where does that scene fit? Realistically, they could put that anywhere now. If he's really releasing all 4 or 5 hours, maybe it fits somewhere else down the line. Maybe that specifically, because if you see he's smiling, maybe that's a scene when he comes back to fight Darkseid. If we see a Darkseid fight, which I'm hoping we do in one of the parts, and not necessarily Steppenwolf. So, I mean, we don't know where it's going to fit because it doesn't fit where you think it would go at in the movie at that point in time when the League is off fighting Steppenwolf, because it makes no sense that Alfred is sitting there working on a car when
the only other point I was thinking where maybe would fit would or I don't even know if this would fit, but when they're all in the Batcave talking to each other about what's going on, right? Like but then he's just gonna walk down. Like I don't know. I just don't. Like, oh yeah, you're a little late to the party. Everyone's downstairs, upset at
the bro party's downstairs.
Yeah, everyone's downstairs. He's got cheese and crackers. Why don't you go down there? Yeah, I just don't know where it fits. So I mean, there's so much rewrites that happened before. We don't really know what the story is supposed to unfold now, and who knows? Maybe. We never knew, and now we're gonna get it, which is just really awesome. So.
Yeah, because he's got the opportunity to like change stuff around if he wants to. So
yeah,
anything
just rearrange the scenes. If he shot everything, but maybe certain things work better in a different arrangement, like I'm sure he's gonna do it. So yeah, I like the suit though. I mean, if it's got I don't need a cape on him in the black suit, but that's just comic wise. But I mean, I like the gray, I like the charcoal.
Yeah, the cape looked nice.
Like when I saw that it was like kind of like a gray cape, I was like, okay, I'm okay.
Yeah,
I
like
that.
Different.
Yeah, exactly. Like his whole universe is different, and I love that about it. Like the gray cape, the silver, like I think someone said on the boots too. I'm like, all right, it's looking good.
I'm glad it was different from the suit from Man of Steel, the black one from the I'm glad it looked different.
I think that's intentional. Sequence. I do think that's intentional. But I think that the cape is going to be black. I don't think he's going to keep it charcoal, because there was a moment when he's sitting there and he's talking about, how the color correction isn't completed yet. And he at one point
that's true.
He goes, oh, hey, and how the cape looks charcoal. You know, like he pointed that out. I think it's going to be black, even though I think it looks kind of cool, that grayish charcoal color. But I'm more with you. I mean, I'd rather not see the cape, but
Hey, he might take out the cape. He might just be like, yeah, you know what? I'll take it off right now.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see when it comes out. But either way, I think it's fantastic that we're getting black suit, and that brings us to kind of what we were talking about prior to jumping on live. We were talking about those other YouTubers. I'm not going to mention their names because they're complete asshats, about how they're complaining about the black suit. You know, they're sitting there complaining, saying why Snyder's saying his film is not compromised, yet he's compromising it for the fans to give him the black suit. Snyder's been saying for a long time that he's wanted the black suit.
Yeah.
It's asinine. We're getting it. Who cares what those other people say? Just don't listen to him, move on. For sure. Let's see. So that kind of brings us to what I was saying is Zack. I mean, you know, he's not compromising on his film at all. You know, he's getting to do what he wants to do, and his remarks that he made were absolutely fantastic. When he was asked about the rumor if he would be using any of Josh Whedon's footage.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that
was pretty cool.
Crap.
Yeah,
he just let it all out, man. No filter.
This is what he said. He goes, "I'll destroy the film before I use a single frame I didn't photograph. That is a fucking hard fact. I'd literally blow the fucking thing up." Those are Zack's words, not mine. But I still say it'd be a fantastic shirt idea to have that on the back with the Zack Snyder Justice League logo on the front.
Oh my god, that'd be awesome.
I would rock that shirt.
But I mean, he wasn't holding back either. Just like what happened with Ray Fisher, he's not holding back. He's like, look, they screwed up, and my vision is this. I'm not going to use a single thing that they did. He's even multiple times said, I've never watched the Justice League that came out. He's never watched it, so he doesn't even know what's there.
Yeah.
So the simple fact is, there's no compromises. This is going to be his film, 100%. His vision, his arc, his story, and I just cannot wait, because I've been wanting this since they announced everything back in 2014.
Oh yeah. I thought it was when he said that, it was just like, I'm just watching it kind of a little in shock, but a little just like rooting for more, like, yeah, don't use it, burn it. But that I just want to say that also goes back to like the Nerd Queens and Meg for putting on like an atmosphere where he felt like, think of it this way, I don't think he would have said that at Fandom. Like if he didn't have this opportunity to kind of sit down with like the Nerd Queens and Meg and kind of talk about it that with them, there's no way that I think, in my opinion, that he would say anything remotely close to that at DC Fandom. Now that it's out, maybe he might reiterate it, who knows, but at like a DC controlled or like a Warner Brothers controlled event, probably not going to be able to say that, or they would not like it. But
yeah, I was more relaxed and open. Yeah.
In that forum, he was just like, just fucking burn it to the ground. No way, no hell. Like, so I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, he definitely wouldn't say that at a DC event. Not at all. We got some people on here actually commenting finally. It's not kind of nice. Hi guys, even though they're my friends. Hi. All right. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be completely his movie. Looking forward to it. Can't wait. But that leads to the length of the movie. We've kind of touched on it a little bit here. The length of his film is going to be more than 214 minutes. That little cut that he had for 214 minutes, that's no longer his cut. That was a compromised cut. That's gone. That's done away with. His cut of the movie is going to be longer than that. Grace Randolph, had revealed shortly after the Zack panel that she was informed by Zack that the movie would be 4 hours long. Personally, I still think it's going to be longer than that because I think,
Yeah.
like I said, it's going to be split up into multiple parts. I think it's going to be 3 parts. And those 3 parts, when they're split up like that, you're going to want at least an hour and a half for each one, roughly, if not more. That's just my opinion, but we'll see. I guess we'll see. But yeah, the length of the film is going to be long, and that's kind of Snyder talks about that. You know, it's going to be long. He doesn't know, or he couldn't say. It's not that he doesn't know. He couldn't say when it would be released, or not when it would be released, how it would be released. You know, he couldn't say how it would be released, whether it be in parts or in one full movie. But he did say he thinks it would be best if it was in parts. That leads me to believe it's going to be in parts. I mean, it just makes sense. It makes sense from a financial standpoint on Warner Brothers and HBO's side. It makes sense from a storytelling aspect and everything like that, because they don't need to do it. And I don't think it's going to happen like this. I don't think it's going to be part 1 is Tuesday of this week, and then part 2 is Tuesday of next week. I think it's going to be like part 1 is March or May 20th. Part 2 is June 21st, and part 3, you know, like they're going to spread it out a little bit. I think that's how they're going to do it, because they're going to want to make money. They want their subscribers to come on, and people are going to pay it. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah. But I think on top of what he was saying about the parts or about the movie and the length, I think that's going to play into when it releases as well. Because if he does have to, I mean, if it's going to be 4 or 5 hours long, he has to film additional scenes to fit in here and there. And, you know, to fill in the holes, because there's obviously going to be holes. So, I mean, with COVID, as far as I'm aware, they haven't done any filming for Justice League yet. I mean, who knows how quickly they can get that shot and done and put out. You know, if they shoot it in November, December, does that give them enough time for post on those scenes to get it out by the first quarter, which is what's suspected and rumored?
Yeah.
Now, what do you guys think of the name of the movie? Because he kind of touches on that a little bit and says...
Yeah.
You know,
I think he wants it to be Zack Snyder's Justice League, or I mean that's even what HBO Max has it on, right? When he announced it, it's like right on.
Yeah, that's what the advertising was. Zack Snyder's Justice League.
So I don't know if there's a hurdle legally about using Justice League or something. I'm not too sure. I know he kind of touched on something about that, but
I think I did see a headline that mentioned that. I don't remember what site it was, but they said something about he can't legally call it Zack Snyder's Justice League. I don't know why that would be the case, but it sounds pretty good.
I want to say it was one of the Crisis on Infinite Stream episodes. I don't remember who it was. They were talking to Robert Meyer Burnett, and he mentioned the possibility of what the legal reasons behind it could be. Why he couldn't, because you got to think of it from a few different angles. This is essentially a new movie now, in a way. He was contracted to do Justice League, which his name is on Justice League from 2017. He contractually did that movie, so they have to come up with a new contract. Essentially, you would think, to do this movie, but there's already a Justice League out there, and if Justice League is a own domain of DC or Warner Brothers, whomever, they might not be able to just slap Zack Snyder's name on it and say Zack Snyder's Justice League. There might be some red tape they have to go through for that, because it's not his Justice League. Like he did not create the Justice League, you know, and that's a possibility.
Okay. All right.
This kind of leads me into the Debbie Snyder stuff. This is kind of why I said this is a little bit of important, because there was a moment in her panel, which was a fantastic panel. She did it with Snyder's Amazons and stuff like that. It was great to see just, you know, all these women who feel empowered by Snyder and what he's created and what Debbie Snyder has helped create. And with the stuff that's going on with Josh Whedon and how all these allegations of him have started to come out, not just from Ray Fisher, but from other people. It's nice to see, like, okay, Josh Whedon was a complete asshole, you know, sexist, Just had a terrible environment to work in. But Zack Snyder, obviously, with what he's done, they
Yeah.
feel it. People, women especially, and not just women, but of other ethnicities and colors, they all feel empowered by what Zack has been bringing to the screen, which is a fantastic thing.
Yeah.
But Deborah did kind of slip up at one point, and she was talking. I can't remember the exact wording. I was trying to find it today before we went live, but I couldn't find it. It was the last thing I couldn't find. She slips and says the Justice League.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
So
well, it's a very minor change, but it works.
It could. I don't see why they would get away from the name Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's a brand at this point. It's been a brand since December of 2019 when he released the Zack Snyder Justice League t-shirt. It's a known thing. It's a hashtag. It released the Snyder cut. It all makes sense. Why change that? So I'm sure they're going to find a way to do it. I'm sure what they'll do is just add part 1, part 2, part 3 at the end of it to fix the name any way they can.
And they can release it on a Blu-ray set and just call it Zack Snyder's Justice League at that point.
Exactly.
Trilogy.
Yeah.
The Zack Snyder trilogy, right? Something like that. But
so name aside, Deborah Snyder almost slipped big time. Almost, you could definitely tell she was a little scared when she almost said it, because she was sitting there talking about their production company, which is what Stone Quarry Productions.
Stone Quarry, yeah.
Yeah, and she's talking about their production company and how they love to work with the creative side of directors and just creative people and allow their creativity to run and dictate what they're doing. And she talks about the directors that they've been working with, and she talks about Patty Jenkins, and she goes, and we're working with there's an announcement that we're going to make, like she almost said the director that they're working with. Now, who do you think? I mean, everybody has their speculation of it's one of two people, or what people are pretty much bringing it down to, but who do you think it is? Marcus, I'm going to go with you first, because you always go after TJ, so you go first.
Well, I think the very obvious answer here is David Ayer cut. I mean, it's all it needs to do is be announced at this point. I mean, everyone's been talking about it. It definitely been gaining a lot of traction lately, especially after the announcement of the Snyder cut. So, I mean, I can't think who else it would be, because you said there's two options. All I can think of is option. David Ayer.
So go, TJ. What do you think?
I mean, if it's not David Ayer, I'd personally like to think and hope that it's Ben Affleck.
100%.
Oh yes,
that would be the other one. Hell,
I didn't think as a director.
Working with other directors too,
directors. Oh yeah.
I think there's more. I personally, I think there's more.
Hell, they didn't even say like James Wan, right? And James Wan was also doing Aquaman, so there could be more to it. But I think Marcus is right. I think it's definitely gonna. I mean, it's been campaigned for. It's kind of been. I mean, David Ayer has been saying that it's kind of been something that they've been working on, or teasing it anyways on Twitter. So,
and logically, it's cheaper to do that than do Zack Snyder's Justice League as well, because it doesn't need to be heavily modified. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the discussions and the talks are all about just, the possibility of adding Steppenwolf in, maybe the Parademons, taking some shots that Snyder shot and adding them into the film, things like that. Yeah, I mean, it's possible that it's going to be a lot easier to put that together. I think it's going to be announced at fandom. I do. Yeah, I think so. I think that's
definitely.
I mean, my thing
is maybe with a picture of Steppenwolf too, for
I think we're getting that in the trailer. I think we're getting that in the trailer.
We're gonna see that in possibly in a Justice League trailer or David Ayer's Suicide Squad. That'd be really
What if we
cool
get two trailers? Why not? Give us a trailer why not? That'd be amazing. And have a release date for both.
I would love, I just want to know, when David Ayer, I forget who, he responded to some fan about the music in his movie and how it was a score and not necessarily like a bunch of like that changes the whole atmosphere and tone of a movie when you do it something more like an
It was like a
orchestra
pop
kind of.
album.
Yeah, it was a pop album for views, right? For getting people in the seats,
Yeah.
kind of targeting a certain audience. But like when he said that he didn't have that, I was like, wait a minute, that changes almost every single scene that you
Yeah.
watch of it.
I
Don't
know.
don't get me wrong. I actually enjoy the music that was not
Oh,
in the
yeah.
movie. I enjoy
Yeah,
the
me
soundtrack.
too, definitely.
The soundtrack I
actually,
really
like,
enjoy.
And I'll say this: I still enjoy the theatrical version of the Suicide Squad. It's not like it's a bad movie. I just want to see what David Ayer actually had in mind. You know, I
Yeah.
want to see more Joker.
Yeah.
You know, like I know there's a
100%.
lot more that got cut
Oh,
out.
my Joker was
Like
so
I want to see
good
Jared
in that
Leto's
movie. Oh my god.
Joker, man. Like I love his take on it. I wanted to see. I liked him as this gangster mob boss, a little more slick, with the gold chains and the gun. Like I like that. I don't know. It intrigued me. I wanted to see more of it. So hopefully that's exactly what we get.
Yeah, like whenever I see people like talking trash about Jared Leto's Joker or Ray Fisher's Cyborg, I'm like, dude, you can't judge those performances because like how much of that footage was slashed on the final cut that you saw in the movie theaters?
80%.
It's an insane amount of footage that's been removed.
My God. Yeah.
And getting back to the score, prior to Suicide Squad coming out, they announced, now I don't have that information, but they announced who was doing the score. And there was even some clips of the score that released prior to the movie coming out. And I was listening to it and I was pumped. I was like, yeah, this score is going to be awesome. It's going to be excellent. I mean, it's no Hans Zimmer or anything or Junkie XL, but it was still really tight. And then that final trailer came out and then the movie came out and I'm like, where did it all go? It just disappeared.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hope we get that. I'm sure we will. Like I said, I think the announcement will come at DC Fandom. I do think we're going to get more announcements from the Snyder side of the universe then. Speaking of universe, Elseworlds. I didn't talk about that from Sean O'Connell because he mentioned that, Snyder mentioned a word. And he said, the word was Elseworlds. And I think, TJ, I think I've seen you on Twitter say it quite a bit. Marcus, I'm pretty sure I've heard you say it on my podcast before. Multiverse. That's what is happening. I mean, and Elseworlds is kind of just another way of saying multiverse. It really is because you can have an Elseworld story over here that is Superman and Batman, and then you can have the same Superman and Batman over here telling another story. That's essentially what a multiverse is and what Elseworlds could be. My problem with it is the continuity. And, everybody on social media has been trying to make sense of it. Aquaman, Shazam, Birds of Prey, all this stuff, trying to make connections to everything. And while I personally would love, and I think Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, David Ayer, Suicide Squad, and then Zack Snyder's Justice League, that's all going to fit together. I think that Aquaman in a way fits. I don't see how it doesn't fit because and even Shazam, I think Shazam could fit in a way at some point. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know what you guys think.
I don't mind it at all. I mean, I think because of what Marvel did for such a long time, it just kind of trained people to think like, if you're going to do a big franchise, specifically superhero stuff, you need to have continuity. You got to have like an end credit scene that connects to the next movie that's coming out. And I think people just got kind of accustomed to that style, and anything else is it's a big change, right? So people, I don't know if I want to, they can't understand it or grasp it immediately, throw it out the window. I want more continuity, but I like it because it's with Warner Brothers, who claims that they want directors to have their own vision. And what better way to do it than an Elseworlds or a multiverse where you have Ben Affleck as Batman, as kind of like the old rugged, Dark Knight Returns, and then you got like a year one, if you will, with Pattinson, and you got possibly a Batman Beyond kind of thing going on with Michael Keaton, if that's going to come through. Like, you get to see all like your favorite Batmans, if you will. Just using Batman as an example, just because there's so many of them right now, but you get to see all of them in a different part that you probably grew up with, right? Like I grew up with the Batman the Animated Series. Batman Beyond was on Saturday morning cartoons, but you get to see all versions of it all at the same time, which is kind of cool. But I like the idea of the multiverse. I think it's a great way to do something different than instead of doing the status quo. Like, because now you could pull into and do a Red Sun Superman if you want, you know, like you can just go for it. Just go ahead and do every different version you want and give people like a different option to see their favorite character in a different light. Because we've seen how many origin stories of Batman or Spider-Man that it's like it's different but exactly the same, you know. So why not do something a little different? That's also another reason why I love Ben Affleck's one. Was nobody needs an origin story on Batman anymore. If you want to revisit how he became, sure, just have a little dream sequence, no problem. But I don't need to see it, you know, Thomas and Martha Wayne getting shot in an alley 500 times.
Yeah, everyone knows that story. It's been done to death.
Yeah. We don't need to see Uncle Ben die every single time we want to start a Spider-Man movie, you know, like.
Yeah, and like the thing I like about Elseworlds is that you can go crazy with a lot of those different storylines. Because like, say what you will about Marvel, even though they are very successful and whatnot, you know, they play it ridiculously safe. Like they do not take risks. The biggest risk they took was Infinity War, in my opinion. And like, just in general, I like that Elseworlds opens up, you know, all these different universes, like all these different possibilities that are, you know, wild, not anything audiences would expect. Like, who would think you'd see, like, let's say Flashpoint Batman dual wielding some pistols or something like that? Like, who would imagine seeing that?
So awesome.
Yeah, like, I think one movie that definitely like made me open to that, it was Into the Spider-Verse. That really made me open to like all those crazy ideas you can adapt. That and Injustice, those two stories really opened my eyes to like what kind of crazy things you can do with the multiverse in general.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be I think they can pull it off because no one's done it before. Like if you try to go the same route that Marvel was doing and you don't pull it off, then it's, you know, then you always get compared to that. And I think that's a lot of people were still comparing what Zack was doing to what Marvel did, but he wasn't trying to do it, and he wasn't intending to do it like teaming up fast like everyone was assuming. He was trying to create like a bunch of different story arcs within his like a character arc, a bunch of different character arcs within his own story arc, within his own Elseworld, if you will. And they just didn't give him a chance to flesh it out. But I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were expecting, you know, instant payoff because Marvel was already developed at that point. But you know, especially in recent years, I'm kind of seeing a lot of people are kind of getting, you know, you may be a bit tired of the same tired Marvel formula. I know a lot of my friends who were against DC in the past, they're like slowly becoming more aware of how Marvel's just doing the same stuff over and over again. So it's refreshing to see a change coming.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm all for the multiverse. I've been saying that for actually a number of years. I think it would have just made sense to do that from the beginning. I know Warner Brothers been wanting to do that since they were going to make Justice League Mortal back in 2009. So I mean, they have a lot of history in wanting to do the multiverse. Now they get their chance, and with Jim Lee kind of heading the pack here, I think it's going to happen pretty
and,
good.
You know, I think it's all like started from this movement. Like everything kind of like
definitely
okayed, like, you know, like people like Warner, like the studio killed Zack Snyder's Justice League initially because they thought they knew what people wanted, and then they quickly realized, oh, we messed up. Like now, like things are like, you know what, let's just go for it at this point. Now they're giving everyone like J.J. Abrams, you know, the Justice League Dark thing, like I think Guillermo del Toro was attached to it before,
Yeah, about 10
But
years
then
ago he was.
right, like 10 years ago, and they
Yeah.
were probably thinking too dark, too scary. Who cares? Like,
just go for it.
shit, man. Yeah,
Just
like
go
Mhm.
for it.
Yeah.
there's horror movies out that people still watch. You know, like it doesn't. No such thing as too scary. I know it's because of money wise, but you know, at this point, like with COVID, I'm sure they just want to be putting out movies so anybody can watch it. At this point, they'll make money. People are dying for some new content to watch.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap up here. I just want to get both of your opinion on one aspect of this, of not just Justice Con, but of what we could possibly be getting in the future. Uh, Everybody wants to know. I don't know if you guys, I mean, I know the Culture Nerd has talked about it and covered it, but just get each of yours opinion. That way it's on video so people can call you guys out individually if it doesn't happen. Ben Affleck. What are the chances in your mind and what knowledge you have? How sure are you that it's going to happen, that he will be back for a Batman film or series to complement Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Oh, Marcus, you can take that one.
You're the one. You're the one that wrote the Batfleck articles.
Well, just from what we've heard, they want him back, right? So
Yeah, it's
if
pretty solid.
it's and it's not like, God, I've always seen this on social media too. It's like people saying that fans are like harassing him to the point where like we're telling him he's got to. It's all up to Ben, right? But
Yeah, I've
he
always
left
said that it's always
because
up to
of
him,
right. But he left production of his version of Batman, and after all of the situation with Zack leaving, Joss taking over, the hellhole of whatever that production was like, and now we're hearing about it from Ray Fisher, like everything that happened on Justice League that wasn't talked about. Like he left because of those reasons. He left because of the people that were in charge of that studio.
Mhm.
If they're all gone,
Yeah, I think I did
and-
say that in a previous podcast.
yeah,
Like
right?
they're
all
all
gone.
the people. Yeah,
And Zack's
It's all-
back,
Zack is back.
right?
Working
and
with
if Zack,
working with
and
other
Ben-
directors.
Yeah, and Ben said he would do anything for Zack. I think I did an article on Ben Affleck before all of this like came about, and that interview where he was talking about his time on Batman vs Superman and Justice League, and how so much fun he had on Batman vs Superman versus Justice League, but how he would do anything for Zack. I mean, if Zack asked him to come back, and no one else who caused problems are there anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's a good chance that he would decide to come back, right? So
hmm
Yeah, Marcus, you agree?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to both of you. I've talked to a couple other people. I believe he's coming back. I know you see the other people out there, the other scoopers who are saying the deal isn't done. I choose to believe that there's something there. I believe that something is going to be announced at fandom about it. I just believe that. I don't know what it is. I just have this gut feeling because
yeah,
I just seeing Ben Affleck 4 years ago compared to now, and realizing
Night
not only what
Yeah.
not only what was going on in his life, but like you said, TJ, the stuff that was going on behind the scenes, because it didn't just start like Ben Affleck didn't just start seeing this stuff happen with Zack. They were seeing it as far back as Suicide Squad and Patty with David Ayer and Patty Jenkins with Wonder Woman. He was seeing this happen, and then it just boiled over and got worse at Justice League, and he saw that, and Zack then went through his stuff. I mean, it all makes sense. Like there's no reason for him not to return to finish that script, because it was a script that he really liked and was passionate about. But to me, the biggest telling point of this whole thing was Joe Mangianello. What was it? The day after they announced the Snyder cut, he just tweets the original post-credit scene.
I know.
Yeah.
So
And the testing that him and Ben did with his Deathstroke outfit. That was awesome. But
And I got to give a shout out to Joe Mangianello, because Pittsburgh, that's where I'm from. He's from Pittsburgh. Love it. So.
I won't be surprised at anything at Fandom. I think like I'm expecting some really awesome news to come down. So
yeah, Fandom's going to be huge. There's a lot coming.
yeah,
It's crazy.
Video games, right? Like, they're doing all of that.
They were teasing the new Arkham game, weren't they?
I think so. Yeah. The whole, that whole DC universe, right? I mean, that when you say multiverse, it doesn't stop with movies, doesn't stop at TV. Probably can go right into video games as well if you want.
It will be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Definitely. But thanks, guys. I mean, thanks for coming on. This is, my first time doing a live show. So thank you for jumping on and joining me. I definitely want to have you guys on again. TJ and Marcus can both be found. Their articles, stuff they do. They both are. You both are editors, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
For the Culture Nerd, which you're seeing up on the screen right now, it is a fantastic website. I do encourage you guys go there and check it out. Where can they find you both on social media?
Mine on Twitter and Instagram, it's TCN808.
I pretty much don't have social media, just private Instagram.
I'm telling you, Mark, you got to get on the twits. Get on the twits.
Maybe one day. I definitely should, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, man, why not? You can join me and we can retweet our tweets together in this feed. Annoying as hell.
Yeah.
Why the hell not, right? But thanks for coming on. And just everybody who's out there watching, if you haven't checked out spoilerverse.com, that's where you can find my show as well as a bunch of other shows, spoilerverse.com. You got articles from me, you got podcasts for me. We got other podcasts such as Spoiler Country. It's our flagship podcast. They interview some of the greatest minds, creators, artists within the comic, movie, and TV world. So definitely check them out. But yeah, there's a lot that's over at spoilerverse.com, just as there is a lot to do over at theculturednerd.org. So make sure you go there. So once again, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks everybody for, I should probably stop sharing. There we go. Thanks everybody for tuning in. All three of you that actually watched the live show. Thank you. If you're listening to the podcast, which I know I get more than 4 listeners on the podcast. So thank you for that. Thanks for listening, but definitely check out our YouTube because we're going to start doing more live shows there. And for the two of you, I hope you guys join me again sometime. Maybe I'm really thinking about doing some kind of like post show or after show of DC Fandom on August 22nd. Thinking about it. If I can get my video stuff to work better, I might do that.
All right, right on, man.
That sounds fun.
It was fun to. Thank you for the invite. It was definitely fun to jump on here.
Yeah.
It's been very fun talking about this.
Yeah. So, thanks for coming on, and I guess I will talk to you guys later on this different social medias and stuff.
Yeah, definitely will, man.
Yeah, sounds awesome.
All right. See you, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Goodbye.